Graphic design? Can you make a living at that?
Three, two, one, fun, 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 fun.
Welcome to Design Futures, a show about what happens after design school. I'm Chris St. Cyr, and my guest on this episode is Kim Lay. It's good to see you.
Hi, Chris. Good to see you too.
Kim is a senior graphic designer at Opus Design, a Boston-based design firm, where she works on infographics, logos, websites, and illustrations for nonprofit, education, and food clients. Some of her clients at Opus are MIT, the Women's Network, the Westover School, and the McGovern Foundation. She is a 2018 graduate of the College of St. Rose. So how are you liking Boston?
I like it. It's definitely on the chill side of the city, which I love.
Compared
But
to what?
New York City,
Yeah.
LA, Chicago even.
And you've been to those cities, or have you lived in any of those cities?
I've been to those cities at least once. Also, I think it's the neighborhood that I am in Boston, which is very quiet, mostly families.
Getting to Boston, that was one of my questions. Can you talk about how you ended up there?
I've never been to Boston before I took the job in 2018. I just cold emailed my career director. I was really desperate, so I was trying everything after school, and she was generous enough to let me invite me to have like a 2-day in the studio design test session with the team. So I met everyone. So all this happened in July 2018. So I went out. They weren't hiring anybody at that time. So I thought, well, it was a shot anyways, because I thought like maybe I could stay, I could just make a connection and become the freelancer or whatever. So I came out, I did 2 days of just being in the studio with the other designers and directors. I did one local project and a cover design for a school that I cannot remember the name. And then a week later, Lily emailed me and offered me the job, which at that point I didn't have any offers, so I just took it.
Talk about how you found out about Opus, though, because that's a detail that I think certainly students need to hear about. You got to back up even more with your story.
Right. So rewind. 2 months before I went to Boston for the first time, I went to the Addy Award in Albany in my senior year. And Opus, so my co-director, Lily, she was one of the judges that year. And they were playing like a compilation of all the judges just talking about their favorite piece for the competition. So I just quickly Googled Opus on my phone when the name popped up, and I just sort of bookmarked them and just kept them in the back of my head. And I think I listed Opus in the top 10 design firm I would like to work for. And it's hilarious because I initially didn't intend to go to the Addy in the first place because I couldn't afford the ticket, but somebody from the award just reached out to me on Facebook and they offered me the free ticket to go. So that's how I found out about Opus.
Let's take a look at your portfolio. So this is one you're telling me about. So this is a school?
Yes, so this is final result after months and months of making. So North Bend Street School, they are a school that offering a lot of like hands-on handmade courses, but they're teaching you like these traditional crafts, like bookbinding, carpentry, piano making, violin making, and many more. So my art director, Casey, was the person who designed the homepage. And then I sort of supported her and designed the other sub pages. And we worked very closely with the client throughout this process to just sort of get a lot of the feedback, test out a bunch of design, what's working and what's not, and then just refine it.
Your small studio, are you doing all the design, and then like is somebody doing information architecture and wireframes and developing
Uh,
it? How is the whole process handled?
so we did everything from the wireframing to design to development. We do have in-house developers that take care of the dev side of the website project.
Is the client approving like wireframe stage or architecture, or they do things like that, or they're only seeing the design?
They approve everything a
Okay.
lot of ways. Yeah, so they approve the wireframe, the design, and then they would obviously test the website a little bit before it launched. So this is the Northeast Food Collective. As far as I remember, this client, they sort of act as like the middleman to connect, I guess, local farmers with institutions like colleges and school to get the food, fresh food from the farmer to the school and just keep it local for the community. So that's sort of their purpose. So I was two more people or one more person worked on the logo. I think we went through a few rounds before they finalized on this final one. I remember there was some color tweaks here and there, just to make it reference like the organic, nature.
There's this one other project I want to look at, which is this
Oh,
one,
oh my God.
which is not like it's a personal project, right?
Yes.
What is this? I just think it's so cool. I
Oh,
remember you
thank
posting
you.
them.
This is 9 days at 9 a.m. It was one of my many impromptu personal projects. I don't remember the motivation, but one day I just thought that at 9 a.m., which is when I start to work, I try to challenge myself to create an abstract, sort of weird, never seen before, definitely not a thing you expect from me, kind of a challenge at 9 a.m. for 9 days, which is when I feel like the lowest because like I said, I literally just woke up. Just as a way to sort of push myself, and I give myself a half an hour time limit to create these composition. And the first one that you saw, the very first one, that was just like me experimenting around of, okay, what can I do within the 30 minutes constraint? And then I just sort of lean into all of that visuals that I built and then expand it from it, but then keep making them feel connected but different in
Right.
their own way.
So you're doing this instead of drinking caffeine, instead of
Oh
coffee.
no, I was still drinking caffeine.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so this is your wake up exercise.
Yes, just to get my brain going.
Yeah.
Before I commit to any like serious professional project.
So you're keeping busy with those kind of things. So
Yes.
back to the Opus, the job. What's it like working at in like a studio setting? Because you're in a studio setting as opposed to like a big agency or working in-house somewhere.
Yes. So before Opus, I had an internship at an energy company with hundreds and hundreds of employees, and there's different departments. And everyone sort of had the cubicles, even though they didn't call it cubicles. It was open layout, but I think it's just a fancier word for cubicles.
Right.
You have the desk and you had place to put pictures. In my 3 months of internship there, comparing to my current situation at Opus, I would say I do prefer the smaller team setting. I did love my time at my internship. Everyone was very supportive, but there was definitely a more like hierarchy and channels of communications and admin that you have to navigate. And then since I was working for a company, everything I design is about the company. You have, I don't know, 7 colors that you have to remake. You have like 2 fonts, 2 typefaces that you can play with. And then compare that to Opus. So obviously we have a lot of clients. So I get to work on, different projects. On average, I work on like at least 2 or 3 different client types of projects a week.
Yeah, and are you working on all kinds of different
Yes.
communications?
Yeah, I try to do a little bit of everything. I do prints, I do logos, I do infographics and websites as well. But yeah, so I try to do a little bit of everything, which does have its pros and cons, but I think the biggest pros as a creative is that it's like you were able to speak multiple visual language all
Right.
at once because the different types of client that you work for.
Yeah. How did you decide on graphic design as a career?
So I did not know what graphic design was when
Most people
No.
don't.
no, I did not. I really did not. The thing is, a lot of young people did when I started, and that's just like wow. For me personally, I was before transferring to St. Rose my freshman year. I was already a freshman at another university, Clarkson University in Boston, New York. I was a computer science-ish major, and emphasis on the ish because I didn't know what I was doing. I just realized that calculus 2 was the maximum science level that I could achieve. So I thought, it was a good time to
Yeah.
really reflect and, I just really had to tell my parent that I think I'm just an art kid. And so I just researched a bunch of options. I thought about going to school for animation, but then I looked at the employment rate in 2014. I don't know what source I was looking at, but that I just remember the data wasn't high. And the field was very competitive. And then I didn't want to be a fine art major because I was artsy in air quote, but I definitely wasn't like passionate about painting or any of that fine art field. So graphic design it just seemed to be like a sensible choice in terms of employment rate based on whatever the source I was looking at. And I think an agent from St. Rose was telling me like all some of the alumni success story and where they were working. I think I heard Converse, and as 18-year-old, you just heard buzzword and you're like, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Right.
So I heard Converse, Apple, DreamWorks, and then I just thought, you know what? Yeah, I guess I'm doing this.
I guess
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
Yep. And then I spent my 4 years and I finally learned what graphic design was about.
Yeah, so it wasn't that easy though, right? As far as like how your family responded. Is that
Sorry.
my understanding? You were an advisee of mine. And so
Yeah.
we would have certain conversations during advising time and I don't know, what were you supposed to do? Were you supposed to go be a doctor, a lawyer, or I don't know, something else? Computer scientist? Yeah.
Yes. So I have definitely had a taste of different career.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in Vietnam, where I'm from, before I went to America at 16 years old. So in the Vietnamese education system, you sort of have to pick your career when you enter high school, which is start at 10th grade. You have to pick the category of the class that you would be enrolling in high school. So I was in type B, which focused primarily in chemistry, biology, and math. And essentially, those students that in that category B will apply to go to pharmaceutical school, medical school to become, doctors, pharmacists, so on and so forth. And that was my parents' dream to me, as most Asian parents do. And just like the computer science story, I realized I sucked at chemistry, like really really sucked at it. So I had to, and then but
Yeah.
it was also around the time that my parents wanted me to go study abroad. So I got like a year of just sort of be a high school student, a regular high school student with no string attached in America.
Oh,
And then
okay.
I enrolled in Clarkson University, which is a science school, heavily
Right.
science school.
Yeah, Clarkson. Yeah, very like a lot of engineering. Right.
Yes, like a lot. And I did okay my first semester taking calculus 1, physics 1, and I think other computer science type class. And then I really struggled in my second semester
Yeah.
with calculus 2 and physics 2. And then I was like, okay, this is my limit. So time to think about jobs and the future.
In the future.
Yeah.
So the future's working out. Like, so how do friends and family back home in Vietnam, how do they see you as successful? I mean, I do. I mean,
Thank you.
You were successful as a student, so I didn't have any concerns that you would be a award-winning successful graphic designer, which you are. So, but how does your family respond to you where you're at? I mean, you have a solid job, you have a full-time job, you're employed as a graphic designer. Is it something that they have thought about? Do they understand this is your passion, this is your career?
I think they are. I think they don't care anymore, which is not in like a bad way, but
Right.
there's 3 of us, me and my siblings. There's 3 of us, so I think at some point in this Kim saga in America, they just sort of like, I think they sort of realize that, you know what, she's just gonna go and figure things out and something will work out. Not like the best thing, obviously, I'm not a doctor,
Right.
but something would work out. So I think they just sort of took their attention off of me. And also because they are still very confused about what graphic design is about, which I don't blame them.
So they sort of have an understanding and they've come to accept it,
Yeah. I think that's just come when you get older and you just prove that, nothing is on fire yet. So she must be doing something right.
Right. She's surviving. She has
exactly.
a roof over her head. She can feed herself, and and she's doing something productive with her time, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Good job, Kim. All right. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, you're doing well. You're at this small design firm. How big is Opus? Is it bigger than when we last spoke?
Yeah. So when I first started, I think that was less than 10 people, including me. Over the course of the last 4 years that I've been with Opus, we definitely add on a lot of new team members as we expanded our service, of course. And also, I think the capacity of the projects also just naturally grow. And that's why we just add more team members over time. So, we went from having one in-house developers to 2, and we also have some freelance developers as well. If you look on the website.
So you're a senior graphic designer. What did you start off with when you were hired? What was your position or title?
I was just a designer.
Graphic designer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so can you give us a range of salary for something like that?
Yes. So when I started, my salary was in the range of $35K to $40K. And then over the course of 3 years, my salary just sort of slowly increased with like the more experience I accumulated, the more my seniority grew. So now my current salary is in the range of $50K to $60K.
Yeah. And then if you stay there and you like get a promotion, what's the next level up? Is there one for you? Can you still grow here? Or
I have no idea. I haven't thought about it.
I just think about those things.
I just got this promotion. No, I just got this. So no, I have not had time. To think about. No, it's whatever comes.
Let's talk about school a little bit, St. Rose, because I have this story. You can fill in the gaps, but I remember this one story. Like first day of class, I come back and I do a typical question, of like, okay, what did you do for the summer? and and Kim, you tell everybody that you had a clover experiment. Like
Oh
you were
yeah.
growing clover. So there's still an interest in some kind of biology or science or something going on there, and organization. You had some experiment. Can you explain what you were doing
Oh yeah.
in your non-design life over like your summer break in college? What was that story about?
Yes. So I am indeed, like Chris said, an avid four-leaf clover, four plus leaf clover collector. So when I walk around, instead of looking at the road, I look down in the field just to spot the four leaf. Yeah, I think when I found it, my first one, I just had this like over inflated sense of confidence that I can do it again. So I was just really committed to that task that summer.
To finding
And
them, or did you grow
yeah,
them?
to find them. And then I started researching on the web. And then I stumbled upon a blog that said if you pluck them, with the root intact, you can keep them alive for a week or two by just soaking them in water. So I did that, and my clover indeed, they did grow. The one that I got the root intact, and then when they started to sort of wither out, I just quickly dried them in like a book, and then added them to my collections. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I recently found clovers in Boston after
You had to go to
years.
Boston Commons.
No, there's a park near where I live, and I just spend, I think, 20 minutes just sitting down, just hopping like a rabbit, just looking for clovers.
That's good.
Um,
That's it seems important. Yeah, that's one of the questions that I've been asking people on the podcast is, like mental health. What do you do for breaks? It seems like is it relaxing? Is that something you do to just kind of like not think about work or not think about other things in your life? As you just go and sit
oh
out on the
no,
grass and look for four-leaf clovers?
I do not plan my clover exploration. It usually when I'm outside and if I see a batch of clovers, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my focus.
That sounds fun. Be spontaneous and just
Yeah,
relax and find some clovers.
yeah, definitely take my mind off of everything that goes around.
I just love that
Yeah.
story because like, you go around the room and ask a bunch of other college students what they did. Like, people would say, oh, I watched a lot of Netflix, or
Oh.
I worked 3 jobs, or like I worked a really crappy job, or
Yeah.
nothing. I didn't do anything over summer. And then Kim, I grew clovers. Okay, sure.
It's astounding to me that story stick with you.
Yeah, I love that story.
Oh, thank you.
Because it was totally not expected. I expected, to hear the
Yeah.
usual stuff. To know that, some
Yeah.
people out there are doing other interesting
Mm.
things that are not design related,
Yeah.
that's something to point out, I think.
Yeah. Also, to the listeners, I do not look like someone who would go hunt for clover. I am a
I don't
five
know.
foot. I am a 5'3" Asian looking woman with pigtail, wearing overalls. I do not look like a typical clover hunter. So
I have no idea what a typical clover hunter looks like.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe somebody from Lord of the Rings. I don't know.
What is that? Oh, I forgot this word. What is that? Those creatures that like pop up as part of like the visual for St. Patrick Day. The one that live.
Oh, leprechaun?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, maybe a leprechaun. I don't know.
Yeah, I do not look like a leprechaun. I want to be one.
You want to be one?
Yeah.
I think you got to start with the overalls.
Yes, that's what I'm trying.
So that's a story from St. Rose. So what was your experience like at St. Rose?
My God, it feels like a million years ago when I graduated. I definitely made a lot of friends, even though I failed at keeping in touch with them post-college, with most of them post-college.
Yeah,
apologies.
That happens.
Yeah. I met you.
They'll hear this and they'll reconnect with you.
Well,
That's where we met.
Yeah, I met
classroom.
you and Anne. Yeah, my two favorite professors.
Oh,
Okay, in my vague memory of Sailor, I just remember the first 2 years I was very confused.
mhm.
But I try my best just to sort of keep a tunnel vision and just did what I had to do.
What were you
Uh,
confused about?
I don't know, just everything.
Everything?
Yeah, just everything. The world, everything that's going on. And also, I think it was around a time where my English started to become more prominent
Mhm.
in my psychology. So I guess that's why I started to pick up things more.
Right. Yeah.
And just trying to like take in everything, trying to do my best, trying to survive. I remember I stay up late a lot. If you remember, if I ever had like any 8 a.m. class with you, I always showed up like a zombie. Um,
That's pretty common.
yeah.
You're not the only one.
I lived on campus for the first 2 years and then I moved out.
Mhm.
So that was an experience.
What was an experience? Living on campus or off? Which yeah. Do you have a preference?
I do miss like all the amenities living
Yeah,
on campus, but I do prefer the freedom I had living
right.
off campus. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. I remember being really stressed out for art history class because there was a lot of reading, and I'm not a reading kind of person. I don't know, how was I as a student from your perspective, if you can recall?
What? How are you as a student? Oh, you know how you were as a student.
Yeah. Well, I'm having a really hard time remember. I just
Yeah.
remember I was trying to do my best
So
at
here's what I remember of you
everything.
as a student. You were a good student,
Oh,
and
thank you.
and I don't define good student as like good graphic designer. Like those are different things. You can be a good student, and
Mhm.
so like you were a good graphic design student. You did
Thank
really
you.
well. You took critiques well, and you made changes. The thing that I do remember about you that I would
Oh
rant
God.
about is and you're not the only one, and you won't be the only one in the future.
Okay.
There's always some students, and you're one of them,
Oh
who
God.
will like work on a project and work on it really hard and do a
Uh,
really good job, and then the next week come in with something totally different. Like
oh
you
God.
just like you I remember on a magazine project we worked on together,
Oh
you had a
yeah.
nice design, and it was a cover and a table of contents and a whole feature story, and lots of work went into this project. And then the following week you came with a completely different design, totally different, new visual language, new photography, new type, everything was completely different. Yeah, but you still did it. Like
Yes.
not everybody can do that.
Oh
It's
God.
I don't recommend that.
No, no, and I also
especially
don't.
especially when you already have a success, like you already had something that was good. But yeah,
Um,
you were that kind of student. I think you did that more than once with me anyway. You would do something and it was good, but you somehow were not satisfied with it, and you would completely redesign it for the
yeah,
for the following week.
yeah.
You remember that?
Yes, I am indeed my worst enemy.
We're gonna move to
Oh God.
the pop quiz. Quick questions,
Okay.
fast answers. Favorite thing about Boston?
The transportation, the public transportation.
Public transportation
Yeah, I do love the bus and the T.
and the T. Yeah, that's what they call it in Boston. The T. The subway
Yes,
is the T. Work beverage,
water and coffee.
water and coffee. After
Yes,
work beverage,
kombucha.
kombucha. Oh, I've heard that one
Yeah,
before. Sketchbook, blank or gridded?
dotted.
The dotted grid. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. Type or image?
both.
No, you got to pick one.
Oh, I guess image,
Photography or illustration?
illustration.
What music do you listen to while you're working?
Oh, that's a tough one. I bounce around all the time. I guess I would say to just keep me sort of chill and focused, I go with K-pop.
K-pop. All right.
Yes.
That doesn't seem very chill. Is that chill?
In my weird, twisted mind, it is.
All right, next question. Siri, Alexa, or Google?
Siri. Yes.
So you work at home, correct?
Yes,
You're
I do.
remote like everybody else these days. So
Yes.
what's your home setup like?
I bought myself an L-shaped desk. I highly recommend people to just get a gaming chair. They do look gigantic and junky, and
Yeah.
it will mess up your aesthetic of the home, but
Yeah.
they are very comfortable. Mine has a recliner, so I can push up like the
Ah.
the front part.
Yeah,
then
and just
put
take
my
a
leg
nap.
up. Yes.
Nice.
Yep. There's a back pillow. There's a neck pillow. There's a back pillow. Yeah, good for lumbar support.
And your computer setup with your gaming chair and your L desk, what do you have there?
I have a big LG 4K monitor, and then I have a MacBook
A
2019
MacBook. Yeah.
model, I believe.
Yeah, if you get the laptop, you gotta have the second monitor, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does make a difference.
And so you're working remotely. How do you back up your files?
Dropbox.
Dropbox?
Personally, I use Google Drive because
Yeah.
it comes with my business suite.
Okay, last question. If you weren't a designer, what would you be?
Oh, interesting question. Okay, as a kid, I wanted to be a comedian. I think that was my first, that was like my first dream when they like write in your, homework, your elementary school assignment. What do you want to be? I put comedian, and everyone was like, "What is wrong with you?" I don't know. I think realistically the closest one would be either a animator or an illustrator.
Or an illustrator?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any final thoughts for aspiring designers?
Oh God, it's weird giving out advice because I still think that I don't know a lot.
Well, you know more
But-
than some.
It's true, I do know probably at least 10% more than younger folks. Anyhow, if you are graduating and you are unsure and freaking out like I once was, just keep going and something will work out. And even if it's not the thing that you want, at least it will give you a foundation to go to one step to be one step closer to what it is that you really want. And also try everything, literally everything. Try to keep an open mind if you are not sure what it is that you really want to specialize into. And even after graduating, as you go into become a professional working designer, always keep learning. I think that's one of the things that sort of keep me sane throughout all this time. It just constantly seeking out different things. Yeah.
Wise beyond your years.
Thank you.
You've only been out a
Good
few
try.
years. Yeah. It was great to catch up with you. It's great to hear about your experience and
Yeah.
what you've been doing lately. Thanks for taking the time. Bye.
Yeah.
The synergistic effects produced by holes.
それはどこですか?
Synergistic effects produce synergistic effects produce.
So what do we learn from Kim? Number one, do your research about companies you want to work for and reach out to them. You never know what might happen. Number two, stop and smell the roses, or at least look at some four-leaf clovers once in a while. Take a break. Thanks to Kim Lei of Opus Design. If you have any questions or comments for me or any of the guests, please leave them in the comments and subscribe so you can catch the next episode of Design Futures. Until next time, go learn something. Your future depends on it. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Synergistic effects produced by holes.